You have a lizard brain, and your lizard brain doesn't want you to do anything that is risky, uncomfortable, or anything that prevents you from being safe. Its number one priority is your survival. And to ensure your survival, it uses this one thing to keep you safe. And that one thing is you. This is the Middle-Aged and Miserable Podcast.
Yeah, and please subscribe to us so you never miss another episode. And if you feel inclined, please leave us a nice review so that we can reach more people with this content.
Right. So today, we're going to talk about self-talk.
We are.
Which is basically the words that we say to ourselves inside our tiny little minds. And we're going to talk about how this self-talk can be empowering, make us happy and successful in life. But also, for most of us, in fact, it can be disempowering and do the absolute opposite.
That's right.
So, what else are we going to talk about, Chris?
We're also going to talk about, we're going to learn about how self-talk can be automatic in our heads, and we can get into patterns and ruts with it. We're also going to explain why we have negative self-talk in our heads and how it affects us. And then finally, we're going to talk about what you can do to change your self-talk so that it's more empowering.
Great. So let's start with explaining why on earth do we have negative self-talk in the first place?
Well, we have a negative self-talk because we have a lizard brain. And so this lizard brain is the oldest part of the brain. It was there before all the other parts of the brain developed. It doesn't involve itself with feelings or rational thought. Its only goal, its one and only goal, is to keep us safe. Mm-hmm. So its priority is your survival.
Right. It goes way back to when we were evolving, prehistoric times.
Yeah.
That lizard brain is designed to warn us of threats, isn't it? It's designed to keep us safe, and when there's predators around that could harm you. And but today, we don't have any predators.
We don't.
We don't have to hunt for survival like we used to. So the threats today are very different. You know, that we've got stresses in our lives, like, for instance, presenting in front of a room full of people. That's stressful and scary. Taking risks and the potential of failure. When you take a risk and like quitting your job to do a side business, those are the things that are today, everyday threats today.
That could be a threat.
Right.
And in these cases, your lizard brain will instruct your inner voice to encourage you to stay comfortable. Don't take that risk, or mm-hmm. To avoid these potential threats. Like your first example, that the presentation is a bad idea. You're going to screw it up. Mm-hmm. You're going to be ridiculed.
Yeah. Like quitting my job's far too risky.
Yeah,
it would never work. Yeah. Don't do it. Learn something new. Learn some more. Learn. Keep learning.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah.
So why don't you summarize that, Pat?
So you have a lizard brain, and your lizard brain doesn't want you to do anything that is risky, uncomfortable, or anything that prevents you from being safe. Its number one priority is your survival. And to ensure your survival, it uses this one thing to keep you safe. And that one thing is your self-talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some ways that it does that. It does that with exaggerating. Mm-hmm. Your lizard brain loves to exaggerate to get you to pay attention. How many times have you thought that you're going to do something and you've told yourself that it's going to be absolutely awful, absolutely terrible, and then when you actually do it, it's never as bad as you actually made it out to be in your head.
Yeah.
The fact is that your inner talk is rarely correct in its assessment of anything. Mm-hmm. The reality of any situation will always be less dramatic than you will make it out to be in your head.
Yeah. It uses a lot of negative self-talk.
Yeah.
It tells you that you can't do things rather than why you can do things. It seems to be easier that way for it to work. Why you should stay where you are rather than move forward. It's that little inner voice in our heads that's often our greatest critic and discouraging.
Yeah,
as well.
it puts us down and it doesn't lift us up sometimes, and it fills us with doubt, so that we don't have the skill or the knowledge or the ability to do something. It'll say things like, "I'm not ready," or "I'm too young," or
"I'm too old."
I'm too old for us.
Because it does. All right, so why does it do that?
Well, it's doing it so we remain stuck, so we remain safe, so we can survive, because, again, it only cares about survival. So to be where you are right now has been proven to be survivable. So the lizard brain wants exactly that over and over again. It wants to maintain the status quo because it's survivable.
Yeah. So with that negativity comes consequences.
Yeah, definitely.
So what? Go on, you've got some.
Yeah, I got some. So your negative self-talk can validate limiting beliefs that you have in your mind. So if you keep saying to yourself, nothing good ever happens to me, or the best opportunities happens to others, that results in us finding more evidence of nothing good ever happening to us, and we find more evidence of the best opportunities going to others, because your self-talk is conditioning you, regardless if that self-talk is positive or negative.
Yeah. I like that. You're either conditioning yourself to have limiting beliefs, or you're conditioning yourself to have empowering beliefs. It's either.
Yeah, and whichever way you speak to yourself, you'll find the evidence to support it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And there's probably more consequences. You got some more?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, a big one is it stops you taking action, right?
Oh yeah, of course. And that is, we got some good examples of that, is when you, it puts you down when instead of lifting you up. And that directly affects your self-confidence. I mean, I can relate to that, because for a long time I didn't have a lot of self-confidence in myself and self-belief, and that was the inner voice inside me as well. And that's a huge problem, because what it does, it stops you taking action. It keeps you where you are.
Yeah, and not taking action is a killer for your dreams and aspirations, because not taking action will keeps you exactly where you are. The action you do take or do not take is largely influenced by the way you talk to yourself internally.
Yeah.
I think there's more consequences of negative talk as well. Negative self-talk can result in procrastination.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. So you might tell yourself you don't know enough yet to do something. You got to learn a little bit more, and then that just results in more learning, which can be procrastination and less doing.
That reminds me, when we were flipping houses, we used to, it's commonly termed as analysis paralysis. And you can justify quite easily to yourself, because you're scared of taking action, that I need to learn more, I need to do more analysis. And like when we're flipping houses, before we bought that very, very first house, I got buried into these Excel spreadsheets, like doing all of the sums and all of the analysis. And it was really thanks to you, thanks to having an accountability partner that basically dragged me out of it. Said, look, it's great. It's kind of telling us the same thing. Let's just pull the trigger. Let's just do it.
It was a very nice spreadsheet. It did everything.
It did everything, yeah. But I'd still be doing it if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the point. We have an accountability system, which is great, but how else can you change it? Because there's got to be a lot of ways to change this.
All right. So it starts with everything. You got to pay attention to it. You got to become aware of how you talk to yourself and listen to how you talk to yourself throughout the day.
Most people are not doing that.
You don't do that. No, because they become automatic. We just do it and we don't think about it.
Yeah.
But what you really want to do is ask yourself, what do I say to myself? For example, maybe you're saying something like, I'll never get a job at that place. Something like that pops up. Then you just got to ask yourself, like, what could be the reason for that self-talk? What am I trying to avoid? Is it the job interview? Is it the being uncomfortable part of the job interview? And then you can ask more questions like, is it realistically going to be as bad as I'm building it up to be? And if we are talking about a job interview, what's the worst thing that can happen? You don't get the job.
You're right. There you are.
And here's another great question to ask yourself. What if this could be the best thing that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
That's a way more empowering question.
It is. That what's the worst thing that could happen reminds me of when way before I met my wife, I was frightened to death of talking to women.
Yeah.
Living in England, and it was my limiting beliefs, that limiting self-talk. And essentially, I'd convinced myself that no, it's too scary. I'm not going to do that. And what was the worst thing that could happen? Well, they could say no, which was exactly the situation that I was in without even asking them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's silly.
Yeah. Yeah, so another thing you can do is swap out disempowering statements with empowering questions. So often we'll come up with a statement in our minds. We'll start the day and we'll say, today is going to be an absolute nightmare. And instead you can swap it out with a question and ask yourself, I wonder what great things will happen to me today.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And don't say things like, I can never achieve this. That's a disempowering statement. Instead, ask yourself, why not me?
Yeah. There's another... along those lines, how questions. We like to do this. Ask yourself how questions. So rephrase it like, I can't do what they've done. And then instead of saying that, which is disempowering, you could go, how can I do what they've done?
Yeah.
Or I can't afford it. How can I afford it? It changes the creative centers in your mind, and it encourages you unconsciously to start looking for solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
Reframes it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can also reframe your self-talk. You can if you say something to yourself like, I'm so stupid, you want to swap that out and reframe it with, I did something stupid, because you're not stupid, but we can all do stupid things.
Oh, yes, we can all do stupid things from time to time, that's for sure. Like with regards to your goals, we should all set ourselves goals. And my goal is too high is not the right way to phrase it. Like, I'll never achieve that. Instead of going, today, I'm going to take one step closer to my goal. And that's way more empowering. Even though the goal is high and difficult to achieve, you're taking a step towards it. And you could rephrase it like that.
Yeah, we've got a friend who's a doctor to one of the sports teams here in Seattle, one of the professional sports teams, and he said that there's a big difference between what a regular person will say about their injury and what a top athlete will say about an injury. So a regular person will go in and say, that's my bad knee, as if it's part of their identity, whereas pro athletes will go in there and say, that's the knee I hurt.
Wow.
It's a big difference in the way that's said.
And they just program themselves to do it.
I don't know, but it just suggests a temporary state.
That's really
right?
good. I love that.
Yeah.
There's another one. I know people that are like this and just unconsciously say this all the time. Nothing ever goes right for me, and I see that in people, and I've over the years developed this everything is going to work out for me kind of attitude. And I look back at those moments where things go wrong for you in life, but also I look back at those moments to reinforce that belief that everything goes right for me. I look back for evidence of that and I find it. Because we've all got evidence of when things have gone right for us. So you focus on that and it helps.
Do that one a lot, don't you?
I do. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else have we got?
So when you got negative self-talk, here's something you can do. You can take action anyway. no matter what your inner voice says, do it anyway.
Yeah. I like the ready, fire, aim analogy. Yeah.
You may never feel ready. In fact, you won't. You probably, I don't think anybody has ever felt ready to do anything difficult. Yeah. You've just got to do it. Well, there will never be a perfect time.
I've got a good example. This podcast.
Yeah, like this podcast.
we didn't, maybe we still don't feel ready that we do to do this podcast, but we're doing it anyway.
I've had in a talk that says, why would anyone listen to this? I got a side note. This is a really good one.
Okay.
Talk to yourself like you would talk to your kids.
Oh, I love that one. You wouldn't tell your kids that they're stupid.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell your little toddler who's looks up to you and that he's not smart enough to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't tell your kids that they're ugly or fat or anything like that.
No.
It's because that'll destroy them.
Yeah, but we do it to ourselves. You would never do it. You would never do it to a kid, and you wouldn't do it because it would hurt their confidence.
Yeah.
And it would stop them from ever trying to do something that you know deep down they could do.
Yeah.
Yet we do it to ourselves.
We do. Yeah. We do it to ourselves.
Yeah. So changing your inner self-talk can be empowering, and it can dramatically change your mood, your confidence, and your chances of success.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are so many things that you can't control in your life, but you have to realize that you can 100% control what your inner voice says.
Yeah, that's it. You decide what you say in your head. You decide what's true and what's not. You decide what you're constantly repeating and affirming to yourself every single day, and eventually becomes what you end up believing.
Yeah, that's right. It's your self-talk is in your control and your control only. So you never leave it unguarded, and don't allow disempowering automatic phrases to feed limiting beliefs or drain your confidence to stop you from taking action.
Yeah.
Instead, build a library of self-talk that encourages, empowers, and inspires you, and practice repeating them. And you're going to see huge changes in your life.
You've said this before, and it's there's nothing truer than this phrase. It's words are important because there's somebody very important listening, and it's you.
Exactly.
I love that.
That's a good one.
All
So
right.
let's summarize, Pat.
Yeah.
What did we
let's
talk
summarize.
about?
So we've talked about how you've got a lizard brain, and it's only concerned with keeping you alive.
Just that.
And it's encouraging you to stay comfortable, stay put, stay where you are. Don't do anything rash or out of the ordinary. And it uses negative self-talk predominantly to do that.
And nearly everything your inner voice says is overinflated to alarm you. Every risk is too great. Every leap of faith is too scary.
Yeah. But it's holding you back.
Yeah.
It's holding you back. So we must always remember that we are in control of what our inner voice is telling us.
That's right. And begin to pay attention to what you say in your head. Turn disempowering statements into questions and reframe self-talk so that it empowers you.
Yeah. And it requires a change. It requires you to make your own self-talk a priority because there's somebody very important listening, and that is you.
Exactly.
All right, Chris. It's now time for the after show.
Yeah.
And something that you and I have discovered, having different accents here in America, is that you have trouble being understood, which is kind of weird because you have more of the BBC Queen's English than I do because I'm from the north and I have a northern accent.
Why don't they understand me and they understand you?
I don't know,
It's
but
pretty annoying.
You've got some good exampos
I've got two examples today.
of the difficulties that you've been having.
Okay, I started
over
going
here.
I like getting coffee at the drive-through, and I don't know why they can't understand me. My order is a large coffee with 2 cream.
Yeah, I
Right?
get that. I
1,
understand
2,
you.
like 2.
2 creams. Yeah, I understand that.
So I kept going through the drive-through, and they kept getting it wrong. And it happened so many times. It happened at least 10 times. So I started filming it.
What were they getting wrong?
The number of cream.
2. They don't. Are you telling me?
You'll find out. I don't need to tell you
They
because
can't
I'm
get
going to
2
play the
creams.
videos.
Okay.
I've got 2 videos.
I know you got 2 videos.
So I'm just going to play them
go on then.
and we'll see what happens.
I haven't
then, all right?
seen these in a long time.
Okay.
All
Are
right.
you ready then?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Morning, how can I help you?
Good morning. Can I get a large coffee with 2 cream, please?
Large coffee, 2 cream.
Just 2 cream, please.
Sorry, what was that?
Can I just get a large coffee with 2 cream? Just 2?
Okay, it's going to come up in the screen now.
Anything else?
Not 6, just 2, please.
Just 2?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
How did you get 6 creams?
I don't think 6 because it
You
comes
said
up
it
on the
twice.
screen. I know.
You meant 2.
I know. It comes up on the screen and it came up 6.
There's another one.
Are you ready for another? Okay, here's another one.
Okay.
Within a week of it.
Really?
Thank you for choosing McDonald's. What can I get started for you today?
Good morning. Can I get a large coffee with 2 cream, please?
Yeah.
Large coffee, 6 cream. Anything else?
How many?
How many cream did you say?
I said 6.
Oh, just 2, please.
Oh, 3. Half of that. Okay.
Not 3, just 2, please.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
So leave it at
6.
anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
Can you get 6 cream
I don't
from
get
that?
it. I don't get it. And this is like the 15th time it's happened. I don't understand it.
You had another one with 12 or something, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, no, because I started saying 2 cream, please, 1, 2. And so somebody said,
As in 1, 2, as in count
yeah,
one,
because
not-
I didn't know how to get it across because 2 kept coming through as 3 and then it turned into 6 somehow. So I just started saying 2, 1, 2, and then I'm like 12.
12 cream.
This would all be better if we could do American accents, but I'm 20 years in and I can't do an
Can't
American
shake the
accent.
No, I've not shaped the accent
No.
either, really.
But maybe one day we'll learn.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe so you never miss another episode. Also, check out our social media content for more ways to avoid being middle-aged and miserable.